The Washington eviction notice. What is an eviction notice? Eviction notice, or notice to quit, is a letter sent by the landlord to the tenant notifying them that they should either take or stop a certain action or vacate the rented premises. Eviction notice can be of two types: conditional, when a tenant is given time to remedy the breach of the lease, or unconditional, when a landlord terminates the lease without any alternative options for a tenant. What should an eviction notice include? Information about the tenant and the landlord. The reason for sending the notice. The date by which the tenant should take or stop a certain action. The consequences of non-compliance. The date and way of notice delivery, and the landlord's signature in the form of certificate of service attached to the notice. How to evict a tenant in Washington. Non-payment notice. For written tenancies in Washington, the grace period should be addressed in a lease agreement. If the tenant fails to pay rent after it is due, the state law requires the landlord to send them a 14-day notice to pay or quit before starting an eviction process. Non-compliance notice. If the tenant violates other lease terms and the violation is curable, they should get a 10-day notice to correct the issue or quit. If the violation is non-curable, the landlord should provide the tenant with a 3-day notice to quit, not giving them a chance to correct the issue. Non-curable options include illegal activity, waste, nuisances, and unlawful businesses. What if the tenant fails to comply? If the tenant fails to comply with the rules of the lease and landlord's requests, the landlord can file a complaint with the Washington Superior Court. The fee will depend on the county. For example, in Clark County, the fee is $197. Prior to the hearing, the tenant should get the summons and complaint by a person authorized by court. They are required to file an answer if they aim at contesting the eviction, typically within 7 to 30 days after the issuance of summons by the court. The tenant's failure to file an answer or appear for the hearing might result in a judgment in favor of the landlord by default. If the landlord wins the case, the court will issue the writ of restitution. Then the law enforcement officer will post an order on the rental unit, giving a tenant 5 days to move out if they are evicted for non-payment of rent, or 3 days for all other types of evictions.